Good morning, class 9 students. I welcome you all on this online platform provided by Jagrati Classes. We were doing chapter 11th of class 9, that is work and energy. In this chapter, we have completed with the concept and topic of work, and then we have done all of the questions, that is the conceptual questions as well as the numerical problems related to the topic of work. And then we have started the next topic from the chapter, that is energy. And I already gave you an introduction that you have different forms of energy or different types of energy. Their names are electrical energy, chemical, atomic, or you can also say this energy to be the nuclear energy. Then you have kinetic and potential energy. So kinetic and potential energy in turn are combinedly called mechanical energy. So I already gave you an introductory flow chart that what is mechanical energy. So mechanical energy is a sum of potential and kinetic energy. Now next is what we dealt, what is the meaning of the term kinetic energy. That is, kinetic energy is that type of energy which is associated with the motion. That is, whenever an object is in motion or is in the state of motion, then such object possesses kinetic energy. And then also I provided you with one more definition of kinetic energy, which is, you say that kinetic energy is the energy of an object whenever the object is in motion. So that means kinetic energy can also be defined as that energy which is required by the object to attain a particular velocity or to attain a particular speed. So hence we can write kinetic energy is the energy required by any object, by the object to attain a particular magnitude of velocity. So this, in a summary, if I say, this gives you two definitions of kinetic energy. In one way, you can define kinetic energy that it is the energy associated with any moving object. And the next way is, it is the energy which is required by the object to attain a particular magnitude of velocity. So these are the two definitions of kinetic energy. So now we will be doing the derivation of kinetic energy, and then we will be moving on to the potential energy topic. So let's start with the derivation of kinetic energy. In the last video lecture, I also discussed with you how you can define the term energy itself. So energy was the capacity of doing work. Whenever an object has energy, then only it can perform a certain particular work. So hence energy and work also have same units, because these physical quantities are dependent on each other. So they have same units. So the SI unit of energy is same to the SI unit of work, that is joule, denoted by the letter capital J. Now we are doing the derivation of kinetic energy. For starting any kind of derivation, we have done many derivations starting from the chapter motion. Then we did, in motion you did graphical representation of equations. So now we have to do the derivation for kinetic energy. For this, what we do, in the starting of the derivation, we suppose many things. That is, we write certain assumptions. So the step would be same here. So here the assumptions are, let the object, suppose you have any object of mass m is moving with, the object having mass m is moving with an initial velocity. So the initial velocity of any object is symbolically represented by the alphabet small u. So the mass of the object is m, it is moving with an initial velocity u. Now, a force F acts on the object, or you can directly write after time t, we'll write in short that after time t, the velocity of the object changes to small v, that is, here small v represents the final velocity of that object. Now you have the change in velocity, so acceleration is produced, the acceleration A is produced in the object. okay, because you have change in velocity, and you can also include that the velocity changes due to a force F which is applied on the object. And as the force, now the velocity is changing from u to v because force F is applied on the object. And in the total journey or the total travel of the object, you can measure the displacement. So here the displacement of the object, when the object was moving, the mass of the object is m and it is moving with the velocity u. Now after time t, it covers a certain distance, and distance in a given particular direction is recognized by the term displacement. So this object which was moving with initial velocity u, when a force F was applied on the object, its velocity changed to v. And now the object is at a displacement of s from its initial position. If we mark its initial position to be a and the final position to be b, then the displacement between the point A and B, this B is what? It is the final position of the object. So to find the displacement, displacement is the shortest distance between initial and final position. So displacement here is small s. Then we can write the last assumption, that is displacement of the object is small s here. So this completes all the assumptions or all the suppose, everything we have to suppose, and the condition is in front of you. Now we are actually starting with the mathematical derivation for kinetic energy. So we say that, I have already told you that work is a kind of energy. Any object which has energy, only it can perform any given work. The objects which do not have any kind of energy, then the work performed by them is zero. Or you can simply say no kind of work is being performed by those objects. So here if we are starting with the derivation now, then I can say the work done in this condition would be equal to the product of force and displacement. So this you all know is the formula for work. So work is equal to force into displacement. Now symbolically if we write, then the symbol of work is capital W, symbol used for force is capital F, and displacement is recognized or denoted by small s. So this is your first equation. That is W is equal to F into S. Now, from the third equation of motion, do you remember the third equation? The third equation was motion. Third equation of motion gives you a relation between position and velocity. So this third equation of motion, it is also known as velocity position or position velocity relation. Whenever we did this chapter motion, then I told you all these three equations, that is the first, second and third, they are also known by different names. So the third equation is known as velocity position relation. And the third equation was v square minus u square gives you a value of 2as. So what we have to do, we have to find the value of small s from this equation. So if I find the value of small s, then small s would be my unknown term, and for finding the value of small s, I would be transposing this term 2 and a to the left hand side of this equation, and hence I get v square minus u square. This 2a is being multiplied, so when they'll get transposed to the next side of equals to, they would be getting divided. So this term would come in the denominator of this equation, and hence we get the value of s here, that is v square minus u square divided by 2a. This is the value of s. So let's mark this as equation 2. Now next what you have is, from the second law of motion, from second law of motion, see this laws, force and laws of motion we studied in chapter 9th of class 9th. And this equation, third equation of motion, we studied in chapter 8, that is motion. So if you remember the concepts from chapter 8, then this chapter 8 motion involves the three equations of motion. And second laws, that is laws of motion, we have studied in chapter 9. So if you have any confusion in these, you can go back and revise those concepts. So from the second law of motion, whenever we dealt with the second law, I told you that second law gives you the magnitude of force, or it provides you with an amount of force. So this second law proposed a formula that whenever you are required to calculate force, force is a product of mass and acceleration. So hence now we can find the value of force, that is directly from the second law, F is equals to m into A. So this would be the equation third. Here m is the mass of object and A is the acceleration produced in the object. Okay? So now from equation 2 and from equation 3, you have different values for S and force, displacement and force. So what we'll do is we'll substitute both the values of displacement and force in our equation, that is in our equation first. So substitute the values of displacement and force from equation second and equation third to the equation 1. So now we are putting these values in our equation 1. What was the equation 1? Equation 1 was W equals to F into S. So if I put these values in this equation, this was your equation first. So now putting the values in equation 1, we get W equals to, instead of force, I'll put MA. And instead of displacement, now I'll put the value V square minus U square upon 2A. So I get V square minus U square upon 2A. So I get a new equation and I can number this equation to be my equation 4th. So just I have found the values of S and F from the equation and law of motion. Then I substituted these values in the equation first and got this final equation. Now you can see from here that this A gets cancelled. So what I get is I can modify this 4th equation and I can write the work done here is equal to M. This is 2 in the denominator, so it can come as half, 1 by 2. So I would be getting the formula half M V square minus U square. So here you get W to be half M V square minus U square. And now this expression for work done, that is for W, you can write here work done is equivalent to energy. As I already told you in the introduction that work done is equivalent to energy. Only those objects which have energy, they can perform the work. So here work done would be equivalent to which form of energy? We are dealing with two kinds of energy here in detail, kinetic and potential energy, which are called mechanical energy. So here this work done, because the object is in motion, it had a velocity u, then it changed its velocity to v. But the object is still in motion from the starting. So here the kinetic, here which kind of energy would be used? Kinetic energy. So here the work done would be equivalent to kinetic energy. So I can replace this symbol W by kinetic energy, which is EK. Okay, either you can write kinetic energy using small k as subscript, or you can even write kinetic energy to be K dot E. So kinetic energy would be equal to half M V square minus U square. And this equation gives you the magnitude or the value of kinetic energy. Or you can say, using this equation, let us number this equation to be equation 5. So this equation provides you a formula to calculate the value of kinetic energy. Here you can say that M is what? M here represents mass of any object. Then V square, V is what? V is the final velocity of the object. And small u represents the initial velocity. So if you are asked in exams to derive the formula for kinetic energy or to derive the relation of kinetic energy, then you have to follow the steps. That is, firstly you will say work is equal to force into displacement. Then the value of force, you will put the value to be MA, And for displacement, you will put the value v square minus u square upon 2a. This value we got from the second equation of motion, and the value of force we can get it from the second law of motion. And when you substitute those values in this expression of work, and then A would get cancelled and you will be getting this final equation for calculation of kinetic energy. So this completes your derivation. Now there is one more step which you can include here is, you can write when the object was initially at rest. This means that when the u, that is initial velocity of the object, is 0. So we can write when the object is initially at rest, and if the object was at rest in the starting, then you know, then the initial velocity u would be 0. If I put u equals to 0 in this fifth equation, then I get kinetic energy is equals to half m v square minus 0 square would be what? V square minus 0 square. So the final expression which I would be getting is half mv square. And this gives you again a final equation for calculating kinetic energy when the object is at rest initially, okay, when the initial velocity is 0. So kinetic energy, if you are asked what is the formula, then you can say the formula for kinetic energy is half m v square. So this completes the topic of derivation of kinetic energy. Now we have discussed the statement, or you can say the definition of kinetic energy and its derivation. Now you will be given numericals. Let's suppose an object of mass 10 kg is moving with a velocity 5 meter per second. Then you have to calculate its kinetic energy. Okay, you have an object which has a mass equals to 10 kg. It is moving with the velocity of 5 meter per second, and the value of kinetic energy is being asked in the question. So how to solve it? Because you are given only a single value of velocity, you have two formulas for kinetic energy. This is half mv square minus u square. This formula would be used when you are given two values for velocity, and the sixth equation you can use when you are only given a single kind of velocity. So because in the question which I gave you, you have only one velocity. So to calculate the kinetic energy, the formula which we will be using is half m v square. And now just substitute the values here. Half into 10 multiplied by v square is 5 multiplied by 5. So it would give you an answer, okay? 125. And the value of, or the unit of kinetic energy is what? The unit of kinetic energy is joules. So the magnitude of kinetic energy would be 125 joules in this example, okay? And in similar manner, if you are given with kinetic energy, you can have the other type of question, like you are given that kinetic energy of an object is, let's suppose 125 joule, and then mass of the object is 10 kg, and you have to find the velocity of the object. So you will just transpose the formula. It is very easy. See, kinetic energy, this 2 gets multiplied here. So multiplied by 2 divided by m gives you a value of v square. And if you are required to find the value of v here, so you will square root the answer. Okay, kinetic energy multiplied by 2 divided by the given mass. So this gives you a formula or a relation to find v, that is velocity of the object. So in the similar manner, you can also be asked about the mass. So what you will do is you will transpose all the terms to the left hand side, and then you can easily find the value of mass. So here, for finding different quantities, you do not have to remember different formulas. You can remember only just one formula, and according to the given things in the question, you can make your own formulas using this basic expression. So this completes some kind of problems also which you will be getting for kinetic energy. Now we will be starting a new topic, this kinetic energy. So finally we have completed. Now we will be starting the next kind of energy which we have to deal in detail in the chapter. It is potential energy. So the definition of potential energy or the concept of potential energy can be understood from the name itself. Potential energy is due to position. okay, the energy which is due to the position of any object, it is known as potential energy. That is, in potential energy, you consider the object to be at rest state. When the object is in motion, you have the energy which we call it to be kinetic energy. When the object is not in motion, that is, the object is in resting state, then the energy possessed by the object is potential. Yes, the objects which are present in the resting state, they also have energy, that is, they can also perform some kind of work. And the energy possessed by such objects is called potential energy. So for the definition which is in front of you, potential energy is the energy associated with an object because of its position, shape, or condition of the object. So such kind of energy are called potential energy. You can see here that when the rock was placed on a large mountain, okay, a large sand wall or a mountain, then this rock, the velocity of this rock is 0 here. But the velocity is 0, it means the rock is at rest state. But here, when the rock is present at the resting state, it has certain amount of energy, and this energy is known as potential energy. Similarly, here also the person with a stretched bow, when this bow is stretched, but here the picture represents a stretched bow. But this stretched bow is still in the rest state, okay? It is in a stable state. Now it is not moving. So you can say that this condition of the object, when the object is at rest, but it is in a stretched position or a stretched condition, then the energy possessed by the object is also known as potential energy. So all the objects, due to their position, shape, or condition, they have some amount of energy in them, and this energy is known as potential energy. So this is the definition of potential energy. In the further topics, we will be also reading law of conservation of energy. In that topic, you will be seeing that one kind of energy gets converted to the different kind. And here we are dealing with the two kinds of energy. So we will be discussing some concepts and questions where kinetic energy gets converted to potential, and that potential energy again gets converted to the kinetic energy. So here, but we are on the topic of potential energy. I hope you understood this topic. Then you have one subtopic given in your books, that is about gravitational potential energy. Potential energy is of different types. If we classify potential energy is what? The energy of an object due to its position or state or condition. And if I try to classify the potential energy, so we can write elastic potential energy. And then you have many more kinds. So one you have to be the gravitational potential energy. Then you can have potential energy due to shape. So you can have many more categories, but here what you have to study in detail is about the gravitational potential energy. So gravitational potential energy, the definition is being given in the books also. Gravitational potential energy is the energy stored in an object due to its position above the Earth's surface. That is, whenever an object is placed above the Earth's surface or on the surface of Earth or above the surface of Earth, then that object has a potential energy due to gravity. Because of the influence of gravity on that object, that particular object has or it possesses a certain amount of potential energy, which is termed as gravitational potential energy. And the formula for gravitational potential energy is mgh. Okay, so before this we will be discussing the general formula, or you can say the derivation. Okay, it's not derivation, but we can write the derivation or formula of potential energy. So now, for derivation, firstly we will be starting that let any object, it is at, okay, suppose an object of mass m is placed on the ground initially, okay, I'll draw the diagram also here. Here a object is lying on the ground and the mass of the object is small m. Now a force is being applied. Now a force is being applied on the object. So we are applying a force on the object to lift the object upwards. To lift the object to a height which is represented by small h. So when a force is being applied, then the object gets lifted upwards to the height small h. So this is the displacement of the object, or you can say this is the distance traveled by the object from the ground to its top position, and the height here is h. So then you can say a force F is applied on the object to lift the object to height h. Now the potential energy will be, or it can be given by the following expression. We say that in this condition a work is being done, okay? A force was applied on this object in the upward direction, and hence the box also moved upwards. So we say that here work is done on the object. So work done is equal to force multiplied by displacement. So work is equal to force into displacement. Symbolically we can write W is equal to F into S. And now W would be equal to, F is what? The magnitude of F, F is equal to ma. And if we are considering gravity, now here A would be equal to small g, that is acceleration due to gravity, because we are dealing with gravitational potential energy. Here the type of potential energy which we are considering is gravitational potential energy. So because we are dealing with gravitational potential energy, acceleration, this is called linear acceleration. So here acceleration would be represented by small g, that is acceleration due to gravity. So F would be equal to mg, and displacement here displacement is what? Displacement, initial position of the object is on the ground, final position is at the top. So distance between initial and final position is h, and hence the displacement is also equal to h here in the situation. So I would be writing in place of displacement the height of the height covered by the object. So W would give me an expression mgh, and this expression W, so here you can write the similar line which we used in the case of kinetic energy, that here work done is equivalent to potential energy. So instead of W you can write potential energy, or you can also write EP. Potential energy would be equals to mgh. So this provides you with the formula for calculating the magnitude of potential energy. So we discussed kinetic energy. It was a moderate kind of derivation, not short and not too long. But potential energy is very short. You have to write work done is force into displacement. This would be equation 1. Then you have to substitute the values accordingly. That is, here force is equal to ma. You can write F is what? This would be your second equation, F equals to ma. But here in place of A we'll use G, because we are deriving gravitational potential energy. So A here is equal to small g, which is acceleration due to gravity. And displacement, you can say displacement here is height covered by the object. So this would be equation 3. Now you'll write the same line, that substitute the values of force and displacement from equation 2 and 3 in equation 1. And after you substitute the values, you will be getting this fourth equation. So you can write W equals to mg multiplied by h, that is mgh, and this you can write after writing this line. After fourth equation you have to write here work done is equivalent to potential energy. So potential energy is equal to mgh, and this completes your formula or derivation of potential energy. Now if I talk about the unit of potential energy, so unit of potential energy is the same as unit of work, and which is equals to joule. So joule is again the unit of potential energy. Every energy has a unit joule, and then I have also discussed some other units of energy in the introductory previous video lecture, where I discussed the different kinds of energy and then the other units like kilojoule, kilojoule per mole, etc. So this completes the derivation of potential energy, that is gravitational potential energy, and then you have the same formula. EP means potential energy. So potential energy is mgh. This is the definition of gravitational potential energy. This is the formula. Here m represents the mass in its SI unit kgs. This g represents, okay, this g you can write acceleration due to gravity. G is acceleration due to gravity, and small h is what? Small h is height. EP means gravitational potential energy, which is measured in joules. So this is an account for gravitational potential energy. Now see, next in the picture what you have, here you have to calculate, okay. After this we'll deal with the other concepts. Here you have to calculate which case, let's suppose this is case 1, then this is the case 2nd, and this you have to be the case 3rd. This is the case 3rd. So you have 3 cases in which a cartoon character basically is moving on a swing, okay. So in the first case he has a position. Let us consider the position here is, if I mark a scale here, so the scale here, this is the position 0, that is on the ground. Then let's suppose you have 2, then you have 4, then you have 6, and here it is 8. So this 4 represents this line. You can take approximately the 6 represents this line, and 8 represents the 3rd case, or 8 represent the first case, case 1. So in this you have to calculate the potential energy. Calculate the potential energy in each case, or you can write, here you have to give the order of potential energy. That means in which case the potential energy is highest, and in which case the potential energy is lowest, and the moderate case of potential energy. So you have to answer accordingly, that in the given cases, which case has the highest potential energy, which has a moderate, and comparatively which case has the lowest potential energy here. So how would we be dealing with such questions? See here, talking about case 1. In the case 1, this gives you the magnitude of height from the ground, okay. So in the first case, this object is having a height of 8 meters from the ground. Let's suppose this height is measured in meters. So the first height is 8 meter. That is, the object here is having a height of 8 meter from the ground. In the next case, the object is having a height of 4 meters from the ground, as you can see. And in the case 3rd, the object has a height of 6 meters. So these are the values of height of object from the ground. So now, as we know that the formula for potential energy is what? Potential energy is mgh. That is, potential energy you can say is directly proportional to height. More is the height, more will be the value of potential energy, or less is the height, lesser will be the potential energy. So in case first, or you can arrange now the magnitude of potential energy according to height. The objects having larger height would have large amount of potential energy. So the maximum height is 8 meters here. So in case 1, the potential energy would be highest. Then comes the case 2, which would have comparatively moderate potential energy. And in the case 3, not second, the case 3rd. And case 2, because it is having minimum height, the lowest value of height. So if height is lowest, then potential energy will also be the lowest. So here, the case 2nd would have lowest potential energy, and hence their potential energy are shown here. That is, this is written, this potential energy is written very enlarged, so it shows maximum amount of potential energy, and compared to this, then you have potential energy in somewhat moderate size. So this would be the second, and this PE, because it is written in very smaller size, so it denotes the less or the lowest potential energy in the 3 cases. So this, I hope now the concept of potential energy is very clear in your minds. Potential energy is the energy due to position, state, condition of the object. Then you have different kinds of potential energy, but you have to do gravitational potential energy. Accordingly, we derived the formula of potential energy, and then this was a conceptual question. That is, potential energy is directly proportional to height. If the height of object from the ground will increase, then its potential energy will also increase. So now next we have one more concept. That is, you should always remember potential energy never depends on the path taken by the object. Okay? It only depends on height. We have seen in the last picture that the potential energy depends on height. But it does not depend on the path which is used for acquiring that height. In the topic of potential energy, a diagram is being made in your books. Okay? 2 boxes are being made. The first condition is A, the second is B. In the first condition, you have a box whose mass is m, and in this also. Then what you do is, you take this box directly to a point B. From the point, let's suppose the box is at point Q. Now you lifted up the box to the height Q or to the point Q in a straight manner. But this box B is lifted to the same height, but it has a different path. And now the total height would be what? The total distance traveled by the box would be different. So this kind of diagram is being given for the concept that potential energy never depends on the path. That is, both the objects here, object A will have exactly equal magnitude of potential energy with object B. So what I have written is, the potential energy, it does not depends on the path. It just depends on the total height. That is, the more is the height of the object, more will be its potential energy. So here height means what? Height you can also call it to be displacement. Okay? Height means it depends on the displacement. More appropriate word is displacement, because displacement is what? Displacement, for the definition we have, this is the shortest distance. Shortest distance between initial and final positions. So displacement is the shortest distance between initial and final position. And you also know that displacement is a vector quantity. Vector means it has magnitude as well as direction. It means here the shortest distance between P and Q is h. Here also the shortest distance between initial and final position P and Q is small h. Okay, the shortest would be what? If I measure the shortest distance, then it would be small h here. So because the displacement is same, potential energy would be same. So I have written object A and object B will have equal potential energy. So such conceptual questions can also come in exam, that a box is being lifted from point P to point Q directly. Okay, and the total height of the total path covered is 10 meters. Now the same box is then lifted covering a distance of 1 meter, then 0.5 meters, then 1 meter, in this manner. So what you can do is, you can add up all the values, and if the sum of all these given values, add up the values, and if the answer is same as the previous condition, it means that the total displacement of the object is same. So do not go on the path, because potential energy does not depend on the path. If the total displacement of the object is 10, it means the potential energy in both the cases would be same. And here if you want to denote, potential energy is what? mgh. And here when h is same, then potential energy would be same. So potential energy depends on mass of the object, it depends on acceleration due to gravity and h. If mass of the object increases, if you are given the question in which mass is increasing, here the object is of 5 kg, but here you are taking an object of 7 kg, then the potential energy will increase with mass. That is, the potential energy of a heavier object would be more. You can see from the formula that E depends on mass. So if the mass increases, then potential energy will also increase. And in a similar manner, potential energy is directly proportional to acceleration due to gravity. So if we say the value of small g will increase, then the potential energy will definitely increase. That is, if you are asked, compare the potential energy on Earth and Moon, then the potential energy of the object which is on Earth will be higher than the potential energy of the object on Moon. Why? Because on Earth, the value of small g is approximately 9.8 meter per second square, whereas on Moon, the value of small g is approximately 1.67. So as you know, as the value of g is more on Earth, so potential energy will be more. So this completes the concepts of kinetic and potential energy. In the next class, we'll try to discuss some of the questions given in your books, that is the in-text questions, as well as some of the questions from exercises, so that all the concepts, all the numerical concepts of these topics are well clear in your minds. And then we'll be dealing with the law of conservation of energy. And then if you have a topic power, then we'll be doing it. And this would finish our chapter work in energy. So I hope you are understanding the concepts quite well. If you have any sort of queries or doubts, you can contact us anytime. Thank you for joining today's class. Stay home, stay safe, keep studying and keep following us. Thank you.